Hi, everybody. My name is Jen. So good to see you here this morning. So glad that you're here. Welcome, everybody in the room, patio, online, wherever you're watching today. I am so glad that you made mission part of your weekend plans. As we continue in this series, No Regerts. I love that title. I'm sorry if it's one of your tattoos. That's a real bummer. But we've been talking about what it looks like to start our year out with intentionality so that we don't have regrets at the end of it. And we started the series out talking about how a lot of times we don't set out to get lost, but we get lost anyways. It wasn't our intention, but we didn't plan not to. And I don't know about you. Anybody else besides me directionally challenged, I like to call it? Yes. I'm very directionally challenged. I have no sense of direction. Anybody ever been driving to the store and then took the exit like you're going to work and you're like, what am I doing? Where am I going? Okay, this is my life story. When someone starts telling me directions on how to get somewhere, I look at them in the same way I look at a doctor who's telling me I need to ice my injury. I'm like, I know you probably know what you're talking about, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to remember anything you're telling me. My husband shows me a map, and I'm like, that means nothing to me. Okay, so I know what it feels like and what it's like to be lost and not intend to be, but that's this series has been all about. Where we don't plan to get lost, we don't plan not to. And so today what we're going to talk about is our relationships and how many of us don't plan to have unhealthy relationships. We just don't plan not to. And so we're going to take some time to look at that today because relationships can be complicated. Am I right? Am I the only one? I mean, there's that friend of yours, that gives you dating advice, but they haven't been on a date since 2017 and it didn't go well, and you're like, I don't know if you know what you're talking about. There's the on-again, off-again situation with your neighbor, where sometimes they pretend like you're best friends, sometimes like you've never met. Are we waving today? No, we're not waving today? Okay. Cool. No problem. There's your pet hamster that has more emotional intelligence than your ex, who still texts you at 2 a.m. just to see if you're still mad, okay? We broke up, all right? Your coworker who asks to borrow your reading glasses for the 50th time, and you can't understand why they don't just remember to bring their reading glasses to work. Sorry, Jim, that's me, okay. Sorry. Relationships are complicated, and I imagine in a room this side, we have blended families, broken families, families that are beautiful, families that are barbaric. Some of you probably love your job but hate the people you work with, or you hate your job but you love the people you work with. Some of us have people who have left our lives too soon. Some of us have people who we wish wouldn't leave our lives, but they're staying forever. We all are in different stages of relationships, We have relationships, and some of our most difficult ones are the ones with our toddlers, our teenagers, our adult children, or our parents. And many of you know what my most difficult codependent relationship is. It's with my beagle dog, Buckley. I love that dog, but I'm pretty sure he's a narcissist. And it's a problem. And my relationships are complicated. They're the source of our greatest losses and our greatest gifts, our greatest joys and our greatest griefs, our most difficult times and our most tender moments. They're the source of our greatest connections, but also our deepest betrayals. So today I want to talk about why relationships matter so much to us and what we've been learning and what we can learn about how we can create stronger relationships in our lives with less regret. See, this whole relationship idea, it started in a garden. Now, you may not have a relationship with God. This might be brand new to you, and that's fine. You can belong here before you believe. But if you've ever felt great joy in your heart because of a connection with another person, or deep ache in your soul because of a broken one, I believe that the reason we feel this way is because God designed us this way, because God designed us to be in relationships. Relationships matter so much to us because they are one way that we express and encompass Imago Dei, which is just a fancy Latin phrase for the image of God. Literally when he created us, it says that God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them. And this idea is that God is a relational God. So when he gave us his image, he is 3 in 1, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. He is a relational God. That's one of the ways that we exhibit and exemplify and get to experience who he is and carry the image of who he is in our life. And it's so interesting to me that out of all of his creation, God is like, oh, it's so good. Like, he's like so proud of himself. Like, as he's making stuff, he's like, the oceans and the seas, so good. The skies, the stars, the moon, the sun, so good. Everything is so, so good, right? He makes man, and that's very good. The only thing he says is not good is that man would be alone. And so he said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. And this word helper is really cool in the Hebrew. It's this word called ezer. And sometimes we think of the word helper and we think of like, a pro assistant, but that's actually not what this word is trying to convey. The actual word in English for us would mean something much more empowering, like an ally or a rescuer or a saver or like a lifesaver, so maybe this week if somebody does something really nice to you, you can just be like, you're a real ezer, thanks for that. But this word is mentioned 21 times in the Bible, twice when it's talking about Eve, the 3 times when it's talking about the nation of Israel calling on a stronger nation to save. The other 16 times it refers to God coming in as a great rescuer. Like, this is an intense, powerful word. He wanted to create something, some image that we would understand that we are made for community, that we are better together. From the very beginning, this is the way God created it. And when we have healthy relationships, we are operating in Imago Dei. We are operating in our most original way that we are created. That's why they matter so much to us. So bringing our relationships into restoration is actually part of our spiritual formation. It's part of our growth. It's part of becoming more like who we were made to be. But what I'm talking about in this type of image of God being expressed in our relationships, it's different than just like being surrounded by people. Because I think we all know we could have a million friends and be the loneliest people in the room. Like, that's just true of us. But if we want to live with intention and we want to live with no regrets in our relationships, it's not just having people in our lives, but actual community in our lives that are willing to connect underneath the surface. I don't know if you've ever been up north and seen the beautiful, big, huge redwood trees. Man, I love going up there and seeing these things. They are so massive, so incredible. They've got the little holes in them. You can drive your car through them. Everybody's holding on to each other, trying to see if we can make it all the way around the tree, holding hands. It's like, they're so flipping cool. But what's amazing about these trees is actually something so powerful. And maybe you've heard this before, but I just think it's so amazing. Most trees, when the tree on top is usually modeled by the roots on the bottom. So if it looks like this on top, the roots look like this. But not these trees. These 300-foot tall trees that weigh nearly 2 million pounds, their roots only are about 1 foot in diameter. And they only go down about 12 to 14 feet under the soil. But the way they hold up these incredible massive trees is because underneath the surface, they are intertwined, connected, and infused with the roots of the other trees around them, spreading almost to like a whole acre wide, where we will withstand the rain and the wind and the storms and the fires and the things that come their way because they are connected underneath the surface. And I believe it is the same with us. Like, storms, wind, rain, hard times are coming. But when we are actually already connected underneath the surface, we can withstand those things. And what I'm learning is that if we want to live with less regrets in our relationships this year, in order to get connected underneath the surface, the first thing we got to do is get honest. When I talk about honesty, I'm not just talking about answering questions without lying. Honesty is an intentional choice to come out of hiding. Here's what I'm learning about getting honest. First of all, privacy is different than secrets. And I know some of you in the room today are like, listen, I don't like to share my stuff. Like, I'm a very private person. And that's fine. Like, I'm not asking you to share your dirty laundry with the Vaughn's checkout lady, okay? Like, that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is withholding secrets, withholding things that are going on in your life and not being honest about them with your people. Secrets are things I'm doing, saying, habits I have, worries and fears that I'm holding alone, lies that I'm telling, behaviors that I'm hiding, that if certain people in my life knew, there would be consequences that I don't want to face. But here's what I've learned from my friends in recovery. You're only as sick as your secrets. You're only as sick as your secrets. So who knows your secrets? We can join millions of groups, go to millions of meetings, have millions of friends. But if we don't get honest, if we don't get under the surface, we will not be known. And we will not experience the wholeness, the imago Dei that we are created to have in our lives. Who knows your secrets? I know it may seem like getting honest would be so hard because it would cause a lot of shame, but shame hates it when we reach out and tell our story. It hates having words wrapped around it. It can't survive being shared. And it will take risk, but change comes from taking risks. And the greatest risk is to be honest with yourself and others. I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase that the truth will set you free. You may not know this, but that's actually Jesus that said that. In John 8, he said, if you abide in my word, you're truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You see, God is the truth. His word is where we find the truth for our lives. And this truth will set us free. But we cannot abide in the truth if we are lying to ourselves, if we are hiding, if we are keeping ourselves hidden from others. We cannot abide in God's truth if we are clouded by lies. And so then we cannot be free. So I'm sorry to be so invasive this morning, but who knows your secrets? Why are you hiding? What if we got honest and started abiding in the truth and got set free? I think if we did, I think that's the first step to start getting help and healing. There's a story I love in the Gospels. It was told by this guy named Mark, and he was one of the followers of Jesus, so he saw this happen like firsthand. And at the time, the context of the story is that Jesus had this amazing reputation, and he was coming to Capernaum, and everybody knew he was coming, and they all wanted to come and see him and hear his teaching and get healed. And so he's teaching, he's actually in this house, and it's like packed full. There's no room in the house. And these friends had a paralytic friend, and they knew that if they could just get him to Jesus, that he could heal him. And so this is what Mark says that happened. It's so cool. He says, since they couldn't get him to Jesus because of the crowd, they made an opening in the roof above Jesus by digging through it. They ripped off the roof and then lowered the mat the man was lying on. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralyzed man, son, your sins are forgiven. I tell you to take up your mat and go home. He got up and took his mat and walked out in full view of them all. And this amazed everyone, and they praised God, saying, we have never seen anything like this. Oh man, there's so many cool things that I want to point out in this story. But I don't have time. So what I'm going to just spend time talking about today is the risk that these friends took to get their friend to Jesus. I appreciate their desperation. I appreciate their willingness. Because what if these friends would have said, like, man, it's too hard. Like, there's no space in there. There's nothing we can do. Like, sorry, man, we can't help you. Like, I don't know. This feels complicated. I mean, I guess we could go in through the roof, but like, I don't know, we might get in trouble. Like, people might get mad at us. Like, it's somebody's house. Maybe we shouldn't tear the roof off. No, these people heard about Jesus. They knew Jesus, and they were like, no, we got to get our friend in there. We got to get them to him so he can be healed. You see, some of us have people in our lives, we have friendships in our lives and people around us that try to make us comfortable in our sickness. They try to keep us there, enabling us to stay broken, enabling us to have failure to thrive. They like bring us comfy, cozy blankets when we're sitting on our mat. That's not friendship. That's not love. We need some people who are willing to tear the roof off for us. Do you have some people in your life who, when you are sick and down and out and have lost your way, that they are willing to do whatever it takes to get you to the feet of Jesus? People who speak the truth in love even when it's hard, who celebrate you even when they're losing, people who remind you of who you are and whose you are when you forget. People who hear your story and they say, me too, let's go to a meeting. Let's get some counseling. Let me help you find a therapist. Get to the doctor. Call your kid and ask for forgiveness. Call your mom and make things right. Who in your life will lovingly walk you back to the truth or flip and rip a roof off to help you get to Jesus, to healing, to wholeness, and to freedom? Now, I'm not talking about codependency. No one can get well for you, okay? But what I'm talking about is intentionally placing people in your life who have courage and permission to talk the truth back to you. You might need some people who will rip off a roof. You might need some people who will like raise a roof for you. I need a long encouragement. You might need somebody who can fix a roof, you know what I'm saying? Getting honest and getting help and healing, man, that is what friendships and relationships offer us. And then that leads us to hope. We get to get hope. Hope for a new year, a new marriage, new friendship, new connection underneath the surface so that we can live without regrets. My friend in recovery told me the other day that in recovery meetings, they say that it takes 3 meetings a week to maintain and 4 to grow. And I think there's something to that. Something about that priority, intentionality, and frequency that means I'm going to get in community and work out my stuff. I am not doing this alone. I'm going to put myself in regular positions to grow, to be connected underneath the surface, to set myself up in a place over and over again throughout the week to extend and receive grace, mercy, hope, and connect underneath the surface. So I think there's probably 3 groups of us in here today. I think there's those of you who have your people and you don't have secrets. And for those of you in the room that are doing life that way, keep going. That's amazing. Keep up the good work. Don't convince yourself that this is not that important. Keep it a priority. Keep showing up. Keep teaching the rest of us what it looks like to live and be in vulnerable community. Please keep leading the way. And then there's some of you in here today that you hear this and you know that you actually have people. You just have secrets. You haven't told them. And I want to encourage you today, what does it look like to go to the people who already have in your life, who you're already working alongside, have friendships with, doing life alongside, maybe married to, maybe doing life together. And what does it look like for you to get honest with them? And let me just tell you, I got to say, like, it's not easy. It is going to be complicated and hard, and frankly, you might have some consequences for that. You will definitely have a vulnerability hangover. I mean, that is what happens when you start telling the truth. But it is worth it to come out of shame and come out of hiding. What does it look like to say, like, I'm really scared to say this, but I really need to tell you something? What does it look like to say, hey, listen, I've noticed that you have had some victory in your life in this area. Do you think you could talk to me about that? Because I am struggling. What does it look like to get honest with the people you already have in your life? And then there's some of us in here who don't have people and we have secrets, and it is so lonely. And you feel so alone and in so much shame around it. But part of it is because you just are refusing to take that step into community to be known. And I just want to encourage you, man, it is so worth it to show up to a meeting, to call the therapist, to find a friend, to make a connection. And if it's hard for you to find, that is actually one of the reasons that we exist together as a church. It is our Imago Dei. It is the image of God that we get to show one another in this place. It's why we do groups. It's what Jim was talking about just a couple minutes ago, that we're going to read this book together. It's opportunity for you to find some people and connect underneath the surface. I had the opportunity this last week to actually sit down with some of our group members and just talk about their experience, talk about what it looked like for them to have the courage to take that first step and what it's been like for them since. And so we videoed this interview. So we're just going to take a few minutes this morning to just watch this interview together. I'm so grateful for their vulnerability to do this. So check this out.
Well, hey guys, I am so excited to get to be here sitting with you today to hear a little bit about how relationships and intentional relationships have impacted your life. But before we get started, just introduce yourselves really quick and say like how long you've been attending Mission.
I'm Morgan, and I've been at Mission for like 3 years.
Okay.
Ish.
My name's Joey, and I've been coming to Mission for about 3 years as well. A little over 3 years.
My name's Mary, and I've been coming to Mission for 2 years.
Okay.
My name's Edgar, known by Eddie, and I'm the baby. I've only been here 1 year.
Nice. Okay. Well, you may not realize this, but I've asked you all here today to have this conversation because you're sort of like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon moment. Like, I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like basically you're all sort of connected and may not even realize how. So Morgan, when you first started at Mission, took you a minute, and then you got involved with groups. When you did, the first one wasn't like the greatest fit. The second time you joined a rooted group. At the same time, Joey jumped in a rooted group, so you guys were both kind of doing that separately, but at the same season. But you were friends with Eddie
Yep.
and worked with Eddie, and Eddie kept watching you do your homework and was like, "Oh no, you're turning into one of those weird Christian people."
Basically, yeah.
And so Eddie was freaked out, and you were like, this is actually changing my life. And then Morgan went through Rooted, then decided to lead a Rooted group where Mary jumped in, and then you guys were in group together for about a year and a half. And then now Mary led a group this session, and Eddie joined in Mary's group. What's cool about this to me is this is one of the things I love about relationships. Like sometimes we take the courage to take a step and we don't even realize how interconnected that it's going to make us and what kind of community it's going to bring into our lives. Now, all 4 of you are group leaders for our student ministry. You're super involved in groups, and it's just a really beautiful thing to watch God watch Him use you all to create and continue vulnerable community in this community. So it's exciting. So I have some questions for you guys, because I have a feeling there's people sitting out here today that are like, hear us talk about groups, and then they're like just immediately like, that is not for me. Like, there is no way I am going to jump into that. So what I would like to hear from you guys is like, before you became 6 degrees of mission groups, what kept you from wanting to be in a group? What kept you from taking that step?
The unknown. I think that's what kept me from it. It's like, what am I stepping into? Who are these people? Are they weird Christian people that I'm going to have to go and like do weird stuff with? And what am I getting into? Maybe I'll figure it out someday, but maybe not right now.
Yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah, I could kind of tag along with that for sure. Like I was definitely hesitant at first. Like didn't really know what the next step would be after baptism. And so my fiance was really excited to jump into groups and kind of was all about it. And I'm like, I don't know, let me just kind of take a step back and kind of just check this all out and kind of just see what it comes from. And I was like, no, I wanted that pull that I had during my baptism. So I was like, I want to feel that, consistent like tug or whatever it was at the time. So I'm like, I guess the best way to go about it would be in groups. I don't know what's to come, but yeah, like the unknown for sure.
Yeah, kind of similar. Like as soon as I got baptized, I was like, what's the next step kind of thing. And I feel like I just jumped into groups, and I was at that point where I was just like, my plan didn't work, so whatever your plan is what I'm gonna do. And I was definitely very nervous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And busy. Like you're a single mom. Like it's not like you're like, what should I do with all my spare
time?
time?
Childcare. So I was kind of
like
childcare. It was kind of one of those things I actually could set aside time for myself,
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Eddie?
Joey, not scaring me away. I guess I was just nervous and scared of what was to come, the future and the weird people, I guess, just like with my guard up, like.
Well, how did you feel like when you finally is like, all right, I'm going to take the step. How did you feel when you showed up or the first time you came? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, like I said, I was really nervous.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember my first time being there. Morgan said he does, but I remember getting ready for it and being like super nervous. I went and bought new Vans, and I was like scared of being judged of like, I don't know, just I had gone through a lot in my like life at that point. And I just wanted to like show up and have like a fresh start, kind of like my first day at school kind of thing. I don't know.
That's why you got me shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you had an opportunity to talk to somebody today that's like, those are weirdos, I'm scared, this is weird, I don't know if I could take this step, what would you tell them to encourage them to try it? Like, why should they try?
Yeah, I heard Pastor Mike Bro, he told me he has a podcast online called The Daily Drive. Definitely recommend checking it out. He says, talking about groups and community, he says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I heard that right around the time that I was kind of like, both on the fence about, long days, not really wanting to go. And it was just something I think I was like, I needed to hear that. That wasn't coincidence. That was, it was a reason, The more you go to groups, the less coincidences happen and the more reasons come about. So, yeah, definitely.
What about the rest of you guys?
So the cool thing about groups is like there's people that have your back, and like you're planting yourself in good soil. It's not on a footpath. It's not on rocky soil where it's gonna like take root and or thorns, and like life happens and you get frustrated. Like you have people that will walk through you with you during that frustration. Yeah, and it's just like when I first started Rooted, I didn't want to leave my last group. And I asked Morgan, I was like, what if I don't like these people? But now it's like, seriously, I look forward to coming to church, like, yes, for the message, but also to like see my family, like, you know, and kind of like what you said, if you don't like it, at least you gave it a try. Yeah.
Or keep trying. You never
Yeah.
know. Like, you're going to find a fit eventually. Yeah. Find your people.
I would say don't be scared. Don't be scared to put your guard down. Everyone that I've met in groups have done so much in my life, like so much positive, that it's, I don't know, hard to explain, I guess. Like, just come and try it. Just join a group and don't be scared. Don't be scared, and just go in with an open mind and a big heart, because all these people are here to care for you and love for you.
Well, and even like what you guys have been going through some tough lows lately. And like to be able to have family around.
Honestly, there's some of the ones that I was actually just telling Joey on the way here. It's I'm blessed and so happy that we found faith in this church and this community and this Rooted group. I mean, they're one of the families that have helped the most in this situation, whether it's through prayer or checking in on us, financially, anything. It's amazing. And I never thought I'd, be in a church with this amazing community. I can't stop saying it. And I love it. I love it.
What about you, Morgan?
I think like if somebody were to be sitting here not sure about going to groups, is like God made you and your story and whatever you're going through today in order to share that with somebody else. Maybe not even share it, but somebody else will gain so much from just knowing what you're going through. Maybe they'll know that they're not alone. Maybe they'll know that that's the answer to what they're dealing with currently. But like, you just being you have so much to give to anybody else's situation. And that's kind of like the whole thing with all of us, is like the way that God's knit all of us together is like that one person sitting here is like part of the weave that's being made here. And you're very important to like everybody else, whoever you come in contact with. You never know what you're going to give to them or be able to help them through. Or
Yeah, I think a lot of times when we go to group, we think, well, I don't know if I need that or if it's for me, but we forget like what we bring and contribute and can actually be a part of somebody else's story, which is a beautiful gift when we get to do that. Not only experience vulnerability, but share it, lend it. Well, I love the way you guys have said yes to this. I know it's taken courage, and I know that there have been challenging times, because we're not just weird, we're messy and we're broken, and but when we get to do that alongside each other, man, it is just a better way to live, to not be alone and to have support and love and care. And so I'm really proud of you guys for being in group, being in community, and for being willing to do this today. So thank you. Can you guys please help me thank these guys for doing such a great job sharing their stories?
So good. We've established that we're all terrified of weird people, and that is true, right? Like, there is a real risk in taking a step into community. We might be the weird ones, joining the group. But wow, what a beautiful picture for us to see what it looks like to be connected underneath the surface, and even just have the opportunity to see our groups every week coming in. And I know the stories in the groups that these people are sharing with each other. We've got people going through cancer, loss, divorce, death, job changes, celebrations, sobriety report, death, hospital visits, birthdays, funerals, weddings, and wrestling with doubt and fear and frustration and parenting, and having a space every week where they know they can come and they can bring that, and they can share the burden, share the load, and then it connects them to each other so that doing life as it comes. When the winds come, the rains, and when it's hard, we have this connection to keep us strong. That's deep underneath the surface. We already have a place to go. These are called preventative circles in some places. I think that's cool to think about because life is coming. Life is coming, and it's really hard to find a therapist, to find a community when you are in the middle of pain and suffering. But if you already have that in place, man, all you have to do is bring it to that place. Bring it to that space with the people who support and love you. About, 28 years ago, I met my best friend, Emily, and she is an amazing, amazing woman. And I remember when we were first starting to become friends, we were exploring with this idea of like, what if we were like actually honest and real? And she taught me what that looked like, and she taught me what that meant. And we had a mentor that told us really early on in our relationship, love deeply, it's worth the hurt. And I'm so grateful for that. And we hung on to that. And Emily passed away this last May. And I cannot tell you how thankful I am for all the yeses along the way to living in vulnerable community with her. And I'm just bringing that up today to remind you guys, man, love deeply. It's worth the hurt. It's worth the pain. It's worth the courage. It's worth the step to step into these places where you can be known and seen and then become fully who you were created to be. Imago Dei, this image of God. So we have some questions we've been doing in this series. If you've opted into the app, you know we've given you some questions to reflect on throughout the week. You'll get these in your reminders this week if you've signed up for that. But we're going to actually just take some time this morning to think about them. And so I'm just going to lay them out for you to think about this week. So when it comes to community, where am I hiding? Why am I hiding? And what does it look like to ask for help? And what steps can I take this year to find safe people to connect under the surface? I believe that if you will process these questions with God, if you will boldly take a risk to take a step into community, if you will boldly try to connect under the surface, that you really, really will live your life this year with no regrets in your relationships. Let's pray together. God, I just thank you so much for who you are. I thank you for how much you love us. I thank you that it was like your way, like who you are, your image is that we are connected, that we are in relationship just like you. And I just pray for the lonely in the room. I pray for the hidden in the room. And I ask, God, that you would call them out, that you would call them out of darkness, out of hiding, out of fear. And that you would replace that with courage and allow them to take a step, whether it's a group or a meeting or a new friend or just having the courage to speak the truth. God, that they would step into relationships that would come alongside them and give them the strength that they need to do this life so that they don't do it alone. I thank you for the way you've designed us and created us, and that matters to you. And I pray for restoration for our relationships in this new year. In Jesus' name.